Good morning and welcome to Nature Watch. Nature Watch is sponsored by Waddell's Nursery Floral Garden and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. And now your host of Nature Watch, it's Gary Miller. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, not melted yet.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
That's the key word.
Ain't that the truth?
I had to chuckle about Scott's forecast for this coming week because it's supposed to be a little more comfortable Monday, Tuesday. And then he said after that it's seasonal, which means hot.
Okay, sure.
But
describe more comfortable. Are we getting down into the 70s? I didn't look ahead.
Yes, actually it's going to be lower humidity too, so it's a lot more comfortable that way.
Here?
I was watching his forecast this morning, and we have that chance of maybe some pop-up thunderstorms tonight, tomorrow especially. Yeah. But the computer model for Kalamazoo has projected a total rainfall of, drumroll, 0.04 inches.
Wow.
I think you could spit more than that.
It's okay. I think the point you're getting to is we're still dry.
Yeah, so despite the downpours we've had some, very scattered, but some big downpours here and there, and everybody got some at some point, seems like. On the drought monitor, that abnormally dry condition moved just a little bit further northwest, but it's still in the northwest part, good third of Kalamazoo County. And with the way the forecast is looking this next week, I'm going to guess we're going to start getting more and more dry again, and it's going to start expanding. It is dry. And with this heat, even with the humidity in the air, we're losing a lot of moisture. I mean, you can feel it when you're walking out there, but a lot of that's coming from plants and from the ground. And besides what's in the air, they pick up, and the clouds pick up over Lake Michigan, so they add humidity everywhere.
Speaking of plant sweating, we have the infamous event coming up very, very soon. It happens every summer here in Southwest Michigan. Corn sweat.
Yes.
There you go. There's your drum roll to that. 269-382-4280 if you want to join us this morning. Actually, you'll need that phone number because even though it's a holiday weekend, I still have a $20 gift card to Waddell's. We still have a trivia question. Gary, is this a softball, a baseball, or a bowling
you know what?
ball?
It's actually you're gonna cringe, but it's a two-part answer.
I'm cringing already.
But I think it's sort of a softball because it's something you can find pretty easily.
Okay, so Google away, kids. Your chance at a $20 gift card right now.
And so I ran across this little tidbit of information, and so this is something related to nature, but it's geology related. So the little information that I found, actually I thought it was pretty interesting. What is the name of the largest lava flow, one of the largest lava flows on the planet, and where is it visible in Michigan? Now, if you Google largest lava flow in Michigan, you're going to find it pretty quick. So I think this is a softball.
Huh.
But I thought it was interesting about it because you don't think of Michigan and lava going together. And this is one of the largest and one of the oldest flows on the planet. So we'll talk about that a little bit after we find out what the answer is. So again, what is the name of one of the largest lava flows on the planet, and where is it visible in Michigan? So i.e. it's the flow that's visible in Michigan. And so it's that two-parter. And we'll see...
We'll see if anything lights up on the phones.
maybe everybody's just still making their coffee this morning and just sleeping in.
And a lot of people are out of town, and they may be sitting back and saying to themselves, well, I'll just listen to the podcast later because Jim is very good at getting the podcasts up right after the shows. So, and I will do that again this morning. But 269-382-4280, what's your trivia question again?
What is the name of one of the largest and oldest lava flows on the planet, on Earth, and where is it visible in Michigan?
Okay.
It's actually visible in a couple locations.
And good morning, WKZO. Who is this?
This is Dave Musil.
Hey, Dave, how you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Well, I didn't light any fireworks off, so I didn't blow up anything on my body, so I'm good.
And we're staying cool so far.
Yes,
that's right. Still got all your digits.
And it's about 72 in this studio, so we're not yelling. All right, what's your two-part answer? We need both sides.
Okay, so my first part is maybe the Greenstone Flow.
That's correct.
And it's located up in the Keweenaw National Historic Park in Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
That is correct. So actually you can see it on there's numerous spots, most of the Keweenaw Peninsula, and out on Isle Royal, out in Lake Superior. And,
that's amazing.
Pardon me?
He said that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. So I saw this little bit of information. I thought, wow, here in Michigan. So, like I said, we usually don't think of Michigan as being home to lava. But this was actually not one of those explosive lava flows either, what we typically think of from volcanoes. This is just sort of an oozing flow. But it was, they actually estimate that this was a large lava ocean, basically, of magma that was around for maybe as much as 1,000 years, and it slowly cooled. So it actually does a big arc from the Upper Peninsula, goes down through Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, goes down to Kansas, and actually almost to Oklahoma is where this big flow is. And this flow, because it cooled so slowly, is what actually created all the copper deposits up in the Upper Peninsula. That's all the copper mining. And the copper mining is actually interesting because that's actually part of why that Keweenaw Historical Park was created, because it's the only site in the country where prehistoric mining of copper occurred. And they found evidence and artifacts from copper that they can actually test the copper and see where it came from, that Native Americans were traded the copper, and they found it as far south as present-day Alabama. So it's spread all over pretty well the eastern Midwest, or eastern U.S., as far as where that copper was spread.
That is just wild. That is just
and it's almost, it's 90+% pure copper when they mine it. Wow. So that's also very unusual. But I thought it was just neat with that lava. Just don't think of lava in Michigan.
No, you don't.
And it's one of the oldest on the planet and one of the largest. And it's actually large because they estimate the size of it, because they're not quite sure exactly how big it is, but somewhere in the neighborhood of about 360 or actually 396 cubic miles. So that's a mile. It's a big block, a mile by a mile by a mile.
Wow.
360 cubic miles. And in some places, they think it's where they've tested and be underneath Lake Superior to some extent, but they think in some places it is maybe as much as 1,000 feet deep.
Wow. Yay, David, are you still there?
I sure am.
We've amazed him with lava
flows.
flows.
Away this morning.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, after the trivia question, we get a good explanation. David, you're our big winner of a $20 gift card to Waddell's. I do need to get some information from you and let you know how you can pick that up. Can you hold on the line?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Congratulations.
And, hey, you hang on there. I'll be back with you in a moment, and we'll be back with the rest of you with more Nature Watch after this on WKZO.
Waddell's Nursery Florist and Garden Center is where you'll enjoy browsing the nursery and greenhouses stocked full of beautiful bloomers. Check out Waddell's fresh shipments of annuals, perennials, and shrubs. This is the week you've been waiting for. Waddell's perennials are now buy 4, get 1 free. A perennial favorite is dianthus. You'll enjoy the long blooming season and the 9 varieties and colors of dianthus. Coreopsis comes in 7 sizes and varieties, and their daisy-like blooms last for much of the summer. Other favorites available include hybrid lilies, hummingbird mint, and salvia. Need something for a shady area? Choose from several varieties of blooming perennial astilbe plants and more than 3 dozen varieties of hostas. There are over 500 varieties of Waddell-grown perennials, and right now they're all buy 4, get 1 free. Waddell's also has many beautiful choices of large flowering annuals, including petunias, marigolds, celosia, zinnias, and more. Located on Texas Drive at the corner of Millam and 12th Street.
I like that it's local.
More Kalamazoo area local news than ever before.
I like that it's local.
On 590 and 106.9 FM.
I like the local news.
WKZO.
842. Dave in Kalamazoo, our big winner of a $20 gift card to Waddell's as we roll on with Nature Watch and Gary Miller.
Yeah, so we're in July now. So
yes, we are.
We're in the second half of the year already. Hard to believe.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, our sunset just started to go down, but our sunrises have been creeping up.
Yes.
It's kind of a little bit of a, offshoot, so to speak, with the tilt of the earth and all of that.
It takes a little time for it to start adjusting and getting shorter and shorter daylight hours.
Right.
But it'll gradually get shorter, and then we get into August. It seems like it moves quite rapidly.
Yeah, and then we all get grumpy because there's no light.
Yes. So I saw another little neat news article this morning, and it involves an animal, not really a wild animal, but it was Alex the rabbit. And they had a little clip on the news this morning that they had a little clip of him, and this is actually an actual rabbit. They have a little apparatus that the rabbit can help throw out the first pitch. And so the minor league baseball team, the Reno Aces, they had a little clip of it. So Alex is quite the hit. Alex was a rescued rabbit, and so they have Alex the rabbit throw out the first pitch at the Reno Aces baseball games. I thought Jim would like that little tidbit of info.
I did not know that. And I scour for little clips like that, and I never saw that.
So Scott Larson actually had that this morning on the news.
Well, I didn't watch TV this morning. I
usually watch Scott in the mornings because a lot of times he has a lot of extended information as far as weather and additional info that you don't usually see in most of the broadcasts. So usually Saturday mornings, at least some of the first broadcasts he has some extended weather information, which is actually fun to see because you get some of the little tidbits of like the projected computer model of us only getting about 0.04 of an inch of rain.
And I'm going to say this. I'm giving kudos to everybody at Storm Team 8. They explain. They don't just say, okay, this is what's going to happen. They explain why,
Yeah, they did. They actually have a really good team there. So some other neat things going. So actually I was looking at the forecast, sort of extended forecast later tonight. It's going to be somewhat cloudy, maybe starting a little bit partly cloudy, and then maybe by the end of towards midnight or so, maybe getting more cloudy.
I'm willing to guess you're going to talk about looking into the sky tonight.
Yes, I am. So actually there's another public observing session tonight at the Kalamazoo Nature Center with the Kalamazoo Astronomical Society that starts at 9:30. It goes to 12:30 a.m. And the highlight tonight are the moon and double stars of summer. It looks like they might have a window of clear skies during most of that time frame, so you have to check their website out to make sure it isn't canceled due to clouds if the clouds move in sooner. If you can't make it tonight, and it'd be a warm night out there, so you're probably going to want some bug repellent. Make sure you got plenty of water because you need to stay hydrated.
Yeah, mid 70s, humid tonight. Yes,
and
please.
so the bug repellent, we've got not only the mosquitoes out right now, but the deer flies are out. I go past Portage Creek and Portage River on my way home typically, and when I pull in my driveway, I have to sit in my truck for a minute or two to wait for the deer fly swarm to go away from the truck. They follow the truck.
They're nasty,
and they don't just sting you; they actually chew a little hole through your skin to get that blood, and then it itches like crazy afterwards.
Very quick story back in the day. I was on the high diving board at Shenandoah Mahogany Swim Club over in Portage, way back in the day when they had a high dive. And I hit the board getting set to take off, and wham!
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I hit the water. I was fine, but I get out. I'm like, what was that? And someone said, probably a deer fly. I'm like, they hurt.
and actually, the horse flies are out too. And the horse flies are a larger version of the deer fly, and they also chew little holes, actually bigger holes in your skin.
This is why we have fly swatters.
Yes, we do, and they're tenacious. They swarm around you. They hang around your head until they get a chance to bite. They try to get in that spot where you can't reach them, in the back of your head or something, and or on your back. The other thing that I actually ran across this week. Let me find my little notes here because I got lots of notes from the DNR and MDARD that had a little news release from MDARD this week. Beat the bite. MDARD offers tick safety guidelines because of all the ticks around.
Yeah, and it's getting really bad.
With the moisture we've had, we've not only the mosquito population has gone up. Deer flies usually are dropping off population wise now because we're getting dry, but we've been dry, and so this moisture we've had there later this year, very, very active. So this little press release, they had a little thing about taking precautions with preventing ticks getting on you. There's more than 20 tick species here in Michigan, many of which can carry dangerous pathogens, such as the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. Not every tick is infected, but bites from pathogen-carrying ticks can lead to severe health issues for both people and animals if not properly diagnosed and treated. And so they recommend that where you can around your house, trim back tall grasses and brush, barns and sheds, around the homes, your barns and sheds, and along the lawn and pasture edges. Create a 3-foot barrier of wood chips or gravel between property and wooded areas to limit tick movement. keep lawns and pastures mowed and regularly remove leaf litter, stack firewood neatly in a dry area to deter rodents, which are common tick hosts. So get rid of one animal and get rid of the ticks typically. And then make sure you've got your patios, decks, and play sets in sunny, dry areas away from wooded edges, shrubbery, and tall grasses and weeds. If you use insect repellents, and we typically almost need to sometimes when we're out and about in the wild, make sure you follow label directions, wear personal protective equipment or clothing when specified by the label. Especially with kids and pets around, make sure you really follow those label instructions. And use only the recommended amount. More is not better. And then wash your hands thoroughly after use. So if you go to the MDARD website and go to their news and media press releases, you can find links to the websites. There's actually a website called michigan.gov/Lyme, Lyme. And they have all sorts of information about identifying ticks and how to prevent them or what to watch for if you do get bit by a tick. So something to be watching out for because we're out and about, at least sometimes in this heat, and those little critters are going to jump on you as fast as they can. So.
Right.
So actually July is, I ran across this last week, and I thought, well, I'll save it for today because the first Saturday of July this year. July is National Bison Month.
Really?
And that's something, neat information. So we typically think of buffalo and wildebeest in Africa, but the United States has the gentle furry giants known as bison. There are 2 living bison species that are still left on the planet: American bison and the lesser-known European bison. So they're very similar looking. When Samuel de Champlain, the French explorer, was coming through the Midwest, he saw skins and drawings shown to him by some of the Nipissing Native Americans, and he thought it looked like some of the buffalo. So he used the term buffalo to describe the bison that he observed in 1616. And a few years later, in 1625, the term buffalo, which derives from, was actually appeared in the English language in North America, and where it was applied to mammals. So actually, the American bison or North American bison is not a buffalo; it is a bison. There's some difference in that.
But you can't find bison sauce anywhere.
No, you cannot.
I'm
buffalo sauce real technically would come from buffalo, water buffalo or buffalo in Africa or Asia or so. The term buffalo comes from the French word boeuf, which is basically for beef. So they're actually related to cattle. So that's what typical people call bison buffalo, but to be correct, you need to call them bison. And we had millions and millions of bison here in the U.S., but we got down in numbers. We almost lost them. In 1889, the bison population was 541 living animals. And so through a lot of conservation efforts, and I know President Theodore Roosevelt was very big on trying to preserve and keep the population going of the American bison. So right now we have about 30,000 living bison in herds all scattered all over. There's some pretty good-sized herds in some of the national grasslands. Yellowstone Park has a big population. And so we always see those videos of people that get too close to them, and the bison are big animals. They're wild animals, so you should not be out of your vehicle getting close to them.
You think?
They will remind you how big they are, and it's not going to feel good. It's going to leave marks.
Yeah. You say they are tame, but they're not really tame.
Yeah, they're not.
No.
And they're big animals. Even domestic cattle, which are similar size but smaller than the bison are, they can get nasty too sometimes if they're not. You antagonize them, you get in their way, you get too close to them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What we're saying is don't mess with the animals.
Yes. So if you happen to miss I'll go back to the public observing session because of the heat. If you missed tonight, in 2 weeks they have another one. So on the 19th, again, 9:30 to 12:30, the highlight is going to be the summer triangle. It's an asterism formed by the bright stars Vega, Deneb, and Altar. So something else to see. Kalamazoo Area Wild Ones has some neat events coming up this next week. On Monday, they have their meeting at the Portage District Library about wildlife ponds. That starts at 6:30. And later in the week, on Friday, they have one of their first member garden tours. And they're actually doing tours of Portage backyard pools or ponds. That goes from 6 to 8 p.m. next Friday. It's an open house style tour. And the garden owners will be home at between 6 and 8. You can stop by in any order you wish. You can find info at kalamazoo.wildones.org. On Wednesday, it started getting warm again after it's been comfortable for a couple of days.
Right.
Wednesday morning, there's another online birds and coffee chat from Kellogg Bird Sanctuary. And that starts at 10 a.m. It's via Zoom. They're going to be talking about wading birds. To get some of those water birds that are wading, like the heron and some of those birds. So it'll be something to do on Wednesday morning and enjoying your coffee before it gets really hot again.
Mm-hmm. We have a few minutes to go. If you want to join us, 382-4280, area code 269, or 877-382-4280, or you can text your question in to 80373. We only have a few moments left, but you might be able to get it in.
So if you want to be a citizen scientist, I got a great opportunity for you.
Oh!
The DNR, another press release the DNR put out, they actually have started their wild turkey brood survey. And they do this every year to see how many, try to guesstimate the, educated guesstimate, the number of wild turkey in Michigan, July 1st through August 31st. And they have a way that you can actually report your sightings. So, again, if you go to the DNR and go to their media page, and their press release came out on the 1st of July, they have a electronic form that you can fill out and what you've observed. They actually look forward to having people help them out because they don't have enough staff to get everywhere in the state. And so people can observe the turkey around. Neat way to participate and help out. And they use those numbers to help decide how to manage the turkey population, including how much or if they're going to have hunting season.
In my travels every week, I see turkeys galore. So you can play along, trust me.
Yeah, it's something you can do and might be able to do from the the shade of a tree or so, or even might be able to see it from the air conditioning of your house and look out the window. It might be comfortable to do in some of those hot days.
Right.
So neat way to participate. They had some neat things about the DNR on their press releases this week. And one more I wanted to mention because this was, I thought was very significant. So most of the parks, I think all the parks and campgrounds in the northern lower peninsula are open now from all that ice storm damage. But they also said be careful on forest roads and trails. There's still a lot of hanging branches. And so they said make sure you're looking up. They still have... So they have all those open again. They only have about 60% of the DNR managed trails open, and just temporarily, or actually closed. About 60% are closed yet. They've cleared out some of the main trails, but they have they've been spent a lot of time trying to clear all these roads. They've got over 1,200 miles. That's 1,200 miles of state forest roads that still remain impassable.
That is just unreal. That's unreal from that ice storm. I know it.
So they've got all sorts of information on that and what is closed and what is open.
Do you have anything on Mackinac Island? How they're progressing there? Because I know part of the road around Mackinac Island was blocked.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. Not specifically looking at it. I didn't look at specific spots, but you can actually find out locations if you go to the DNR website. They've got a special page on the ice storm damage.
Actually, if you've been there, any of you have been there, go ahead and text us to 80373 and let us know if they've cleaned up Mackinac Island.
Yeah. So the other interesting thing was, the storm, they estimate affected nearly 1 million acres of DNR managed land. 1 million acres. That's just unbelievable. 3,400 miles of state forest road and 3,290 miles of state-managed trails, including 1,700 miles of state-designated ORV trails and routes. So just a big impact, and they're still trying to clear that out.
Wow.
So if you're going north, make sure you plan on that. Like I said, the campground facilities or parks are pretty well open, but a lot of the trails and roads are still closed. And so plan on that accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
They do have volunteer opportunities, so if you want to do a little working vacation, maybe it's a little cooler up there too, and you do a little working vacation, contact the local DNR office, and they can Probably find some locations for you to help clean up some of that.
That's a
debris.
good idea. That is a great idea. And they need the help. There's no doubt about
need
it.
the help.
It's amazing how far we are away from that ice storm, and we're still dealing with that damage up north. I'm just...
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. So this next week, make sure you stay hydrated. Get outside, when you can. Stay cool.
Right, exactly.
So if you have any comments or you see anything during the week, you can email me at naturewatch@wadells.com and or save notes and give us a call during the show next week or text in.
Yeah,
Love to hear
go.
from you.
There you go. Gary, thank you, sir. We do appreciate you coming in on a holiday weekend at that. Coming up,
I'm working, so
yeah, there you go. Coming up in a few, we do have Over the Garden Fence. It is a pre-recorded Over the Garden Fence, so if you call in, you can talk to me, and I know nothing. That's why I'm here.
Bombard Jim with questions today.
I'm learning things. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Gary, and thank you for listening to this edition of Nature Watch. Tune in each Saturday morning at 8:30 for Nature Watch. Brought to you by Waddell's Nursery, Floral, Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. CBS and local news is up next, and then Over the Garden Fence. Coming up on 590 and 106.9 FM, WKZO.